Yeah. Okay, so today our theme is Built to Lead. As an icebreaker, maybe let's just start off by hearing who are you, where do you come from, what background do you have, and most importantly, when you were 15, did you think you would be sitting in this seat?
Okay, well, hi guys. How are you guys? Are you guys good? Yeah. Cool. So as she mentioned, I'm Nolutando, and I'm an architect or candidate architect now. When I was 15, I did not think I'd be sitting in this seat. I didn't think that I would be sitting talking about what I do, and I didn't think that this is what I was going to be doing. I was going in a completely different direction, and somehow, some way, things found themselves kind of coming this way. As it stands, yes, I think the bio kind of said everything that I am, but I'm an architect. I studied at the University of Cape Town, both undergrad and postgrad, and now I am on my way to becoming professional architect and changing the face of architecture. So yeah.
Hi. Dumelang. Nna ke Lesego, right? Ke goletse mo Tshepisong. Yep, I was. There are a lot of familiar faces in this place. I was not born, but I was raised in this church, actually. Some of you Galibona are taking ownership of the vision. I saw through. Ke tswa ko Tshepisong, ke tswa ko phase 7. The last phase. You guys know phase 7 again? Yeah, ke tswa ko phase 7, and I matriculated ko Madiba, ko Kagiso. You know Madiba, right? Ke tswa ko Madiba, ko Kagiso. That's where I did my high school. And after matric, I went to UJ. Yo, yeah, say that. Yeah. For the first time, I went to Johannesburg. I went to Auckland Park. It was such a culture shock. But yeah. And when I was 15, I actually wanted to become a teacher, like my friend over there. But yeah, I think we'll discuss as we go. But life said no. I remember I applied for education, go UJ, and I was not accepted. I was not accepted. Not because I failed, by the way. I had 3 distinctions in matric. But I was not accepted because the list was long. And I just didn't cut it to again. And I remember that January, everything was just going, what do we do now? Where do I go? Let's about to university. What am I going to say to them now that I'm no longer going? But then I was thrown into a field of marketing. I remember I was told by the dean, no, just go do 1 year in that qualification, and then after you can come back to education. I remember I went to Lentate Mabao, so he's not here. I went to him and I said, you have to be my father when we get there. And you must wear a nice suit so that they take us serious. And then we went to the dean, and the dean was set on his decision to say, no, not this year, come back next year. And I was like, what do I do now? I'm like, let me just go do that stupid 1 year and then I'll come back. And then I did the 1 year. 6 months into that qualification, I loved it. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I keep a loyal Bachelor of Education, yabo. I don't care. I will stick to this one. And then later on, another dream came to say, but I still I'm still passionate about teaching. What do I do? And then I found out, no, there's something better. You can become a lecturer. I stayed. Oh, yeah.
Sanbonani, Ninjani. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much to the leaders of the church as well as your youth leaders. Niyabona kodwa ukuthi bayanithanda kangakanani, because they want you guys to make sure you have all the exposure and you don't make mistakes, ne? Choosing what it is you want to do for the rest of your lives. So, mina igama lami uSima. I'm a medical doctor by profession, and I have no idea where to start because your questions are quite loaded. But not to waste time, when I was 15, I wanted to be a pilot, if I'm being honest. It fascinated me, ukuthi there's people who can actually move you from one point to the next in a matter of minutes. I was fascinated about just being in control of something. For me, I think that was the issue. And I'm gonna say it's an issue because when the time came to apply, I remember applying, but because when it comes to aviation or pilots, you don't really get to do it in these institutions. Often it's private institutions. Thank you. And because of that, there's often very few options for funding, right? So your parents have to pay for it majority of the time. So I applied, and my dad was like, Sisi, can you just be realistic? Because we are not rich, okay? So because of that, you're gonna need to choose a profession where you will have funding, or at least there's an opportunity of funding. And also, let's look at what it is you're good at, right? There's a scripture, I'm sorry, I'll try my best not to be spiritual about this, but I think we can honor the aspect of spirituality when it comes to guiding our professions and just these big life decisions, ultimately helping us serve our purposes. So there's a scripture in Proverbs 18:16 which says, a gift of a man makes room for him, and it will place him before great men. Yes, some versions say it will place him before kings. So my dad was obsessed with that. He was saying to me, can you just be realistic? Let's look at what it is you're good at. What do you enjoy doing? And I figured out, yes, the subjects I was doing, it mattered what it is I was good at. It's very important to be realistic. And then the other thing was, personality-wise, I was always the problem fixer, even in the family. I always wanted to fix problems. I looked for a problem, I fixed it. It gave me fulfillment. And so I still didn't apply for medicine, by the way. I applied, I wanted to be a dentist at some point because I was like, it's easy. Somebody comes with a toothache, you find the problem, you fix it, we're good. And then he was like, okay, sure, you can apply for dentistry, what else? So, I mean, I was a bit all over the place, if I'm being honest, because I looked at accounting, which I was good at as well, so I was like, oh, okay, I can be a CA, right? Because again, I'm not from a rich family, I'm gonna have to make a living, I'm gonna have to be realistic as far as what it is my parents have worked so hard for, because that is also important. So ultimately, the time came to go into varsity. First year came, and I remember somehow I couldn't get into dentistry at UP, and so I just fell into medicine. Again, big lesson as far as making room for God to do whatever He wants, even when it comes to your profession. So that is how I ended up in medicine in a nutshell. So yeah, that is currently what I'm doing. I work in accident and emergency, where I'm basically just providing acute care from certain accidents to people coming in with strokes, and at times to, of course, pediatric cases. But what I do on the other side, because of my passion, ultimately I want to become an orthopedic spine surgeon, where we're just fixing bones, if we could put it. But ultimately, the purpose is still to identify problems and fix them, but to basically serve people at a grander scale, where we are actually restoring full function. We are restoring, I guess, people's dignity, just giving it back to them when at times it can appear that actually all has been lost. So in a nutshell, that is me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sanbonan, Ninjani. You've heard fine voices, so now you have to have a male voice. Askis. What an honor. It is a privilege to be here. I think I'm sitting next to my inspiration. I'll tell you why. When I was 15, I wanted to be a medical doctor. As she said, sometimes you apply for certain things. I think Mem said you get to accept it in a different course. So I was accepted into BSc, Bachelor of Science, with the aim of diverting into medicine after completing my second year, which you would go into second year medicine. And I came across microbiology, and I never looked back. And then I studied microbiology. Unfortunately, there are lessons to learn in this journey. I then lost my major sponsor on my third year, and then it meant I must go complete it in a technical level. And God, being God, works it all out. I only went to varsity to get saved. That's where I met the Lord. And then, after being saved, I was shipped back to University of Johannesburg, UJ. It was still, what is this? Rao. No, not Rao. I went to Doornfontein. Yeah. University UJ Tech, that one, yeah. So that's where I did my biotechnology, which would be majoring in microbiology, completed that. So in your journey of life, you think you want to do something, and the Lord directs you completely into a different path. But even that is just God's purpose. So I think there's a lot I will say later, not now. Siyabonga, Eta? Sure.
Thank you very much for sharing how you got here. I think for me, what stands out is that at your age, you might think you want to do something now, and you might pursue it wholeheartedly, but God will plant you where He needs you to be. And just thinking on this theme of built to lead, it's really about being a leader in your spaces, being set apart. How do you conduct yourself? And maybe I can just ask Lesego and Daddy to just give us maybe just two skills that you think every young person can start to develop now to be a leader in their space, to show up with the theme in mind of being built to lead.
Firstly, it would be communication. Communication, whether written or verbal. With us, especially with me, learning how to communicate and then to see, how do you actually communicate? Some of us were exposed to generations back in the day. And I would see Queen Moroka and then Karabo and how they talk motivating. I'm like, man, but we are different to these people, man. Because you realize, Karabo Moroka or Queen. Karabo Moroka. Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, I love the way Babuanka thing. Okay, this is nice. Because back Koka so how do you learn then to talk like that? Influences are everywhere. And you start searching for influences. And you realize once you start working that what you thought you knew is still not enough. We are still learning now how to send proper emails, how to talk to somebody else without somebody I feel as if I'm a bully or you're coming across as aggressive by that time you want to put something across, right? Another skill I would like to have, I hate people that say, I'm a loner. I like being alone. I don't like talking. Hello? Udula le batu ne? Udula le batu unale family. I want you to learn how to work with people. I want you to learn how to work with people and never say, oh, too dark, or too light, or too poor, or too rich. Never judge anyone, but learn how to work with people. You're going to get a job, or you are going to go to school, and you will have to work with people. Even the one who is stuttering, you will have to learn how to talk to that person. The one whose English is not so great, you will learn how to talk to that person. The one whose English is too good for you and you feel intimidated, you will still have to learn how to work with people. I want you to learn how to work with people. And some of these skills, we get them from church. Ne? Re thola mo kerekeng. People like separating career and church, and they go together. They go together. If you want to do something, and even that skill, if you're struggling with it, it's something you can pray about. Ne? If you are struggling with how to do your hair, you can pray about it. If you are struggling how to dress, you can pray about it. Ne? That I'm trying to say, all these skills that we are saying, maybe they look impossible now. They look impossible is because you haven't prayed about it. But it doesn't stop at praying. It continues to saying, how do I research? How do I get more information after I have prayed? You don't pray and you sit down. That's why I say it. That's why it's not working. That's why you feel like you are defeated. It's because you prayed and you sat down. You have to pray and take action into what you want to know. If, for example, I'm struggling with how to dress, I have to pray, then start looking at how people dress. And start looking at following people who are dressing nicely on social media. Even at church, I start looking at somebody who I think I want to dress like them. You start doing research and picking up on these things. If I like how Tepiso talks, after church, I go to a small conversation, so that I hear these big words. I'm like, I'm learning. I didn't pray and sit down, but I prayed, and I'm taking action towards what I want to achieve. I'm sorry, I'm a teacher, so I over-explain things.
No, thank you.
Great, thank you, teacher. Allow me to acknowledge Mfundis Sanborn, Sebo. There's two things that I would advise to attain as a skill. Oh, one, Kitso Mokasi, Kitso Kahiso, Joshua Dotsakan, that's where I grew up. I did my high school junior. Gindona Kasi. Yeah, and then I left and I'm back. Two things. Passion, one. You need to have passion for God. I know it doesn't make sense right now. If you are not passionate about anything, particularly things that have to do with God, it's a door. It's a door that you are shutting down in your own life. If you are passionate about God, trust me, a lot of things are going to start making sense. Okay? I think for me, that's what worked. I was very passionate about the Lord, very zealous about his things. More on top of that, it's discipline. Waking up early in the morning and sleeping up late, those are critical. If you don't know how to wake up early in the morning, you will struggle. The Bible says, Jesus in the book of Hebrews, that early hours of the morning, while it was still dark, he would go out and go and pray. So if the master have to wake up early in the morning to go pray, and then when usalele, how do you think you're going to achieve anything? So issues of discipline are critical. You need to be able to wake up early and also be able to sleep late at night. The Bible says he healed people all the way to the early hours of the morning. So he wakes up early, he works through his ministry all the way to early hours of the morning, and he still goes out and prays. So I think for me that is important. Lastly, show initiative. The difference between someone who's hired or is promoted is their desire to know more. We can both be hired and doing exactly the same thing, but as to who ends up being the operations director is equal to how much initiative we show. So you need to ask questions. You need to be curious enough to say, but how do I best do this? Is this it to it? Or come up with an idea. So you know what? I was thinking about how you guys are solving problems. Have you tried this? Show initiative. And I think those are some of the things that will help a lot in you growing in your, or building anything. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope everyone is taking notes on what's going on. They said communication, discipline, being able to work with people, and also a passion, right? Those are the things that are setting you apart, and these are things that you can start to develop even at this age. Even in the classroom, even when you work in groups, even at a university level, you can start to have these qualities and show this eagerness. And if you don't have it, you start to develop it. They gave you practical examples. How do you do it? You start to speak to people. You start to research. YouTube is like number one. You can sit there. You can learn. If you want to be a lawyer, you can sit and you just listen to counsel, advocates every day. If you want to be a teacher, you sit there and you train. So maybe I can now ask Noluthando and Dr. Shange. We've gotten into this, the abstract part of what it means to be an example, how to be a leader in these spaces. But now I really want to get into, at a high school level, at a varsity level, I think you spoke a lot about you had an idea of wanting to do this, but maybe your circumstances had to make you think a bit more creatively. So how can young people start to think about these applications or internships, especially with this increasing demand for work and also scarcity of jobs? How can they set themselves apart or start to think about where are the grassroots places that they can start?
Okay, so I guess I'll go first. For me, it was something I actually learned along the way. I don't think at that age I was even taking the initiative that I should have. But speaking in hindsight and just taking a few nuggets from what I had done, one thing I can say now that I'll always tell young people is don't take for granted the community that you have around you, and do your research. And research doesn't mean you need to know what you're searching about, but look into yourself, research yourself, and figure out, okay, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? What are the things that I don't want to stop doing that I could use in my career? I was someone who was so stubborn about taking the subject art. I was adamant to my parents, I'll take physics, I'll take this, but art has to be one of my chosen subjects. And it didn't make sense, and my mom sat me down and she was like, why are you so into this subject? Because at the time, I thought I was gonna do accounting or something along that line. And she kept asking me, why do you wanna do that? And then I had to kind of do some self-introspection, some self-research to be like, okay, what am I interested in? And what are the careers that are available that are in line with what I'm interested in? Which opened up a door of possibility for me, because then I found that, oh, there's such a thing as graphic design, and you can make money. There's such a thing as interior design. There's such a thing as architecture, you know? It wasn't that I found what I wanted to do because it was handed to me, and university puts it out on a platter. They don't, you know? I had to go out and do the work to find what exists out there. And then secondly, I had to communicate with my community. I had to ask my mom's friends. I had to say, okay, who do you know that does something like this? Ask my teachers, who do you know that does something like this? And get my foot in the door. I started kind of following one of my mom's friends who was an architect. I would go with her to work. I wasn't even working, I was in high school. I wasn't necessarily doing anything valuable in that workspace. I was probably bothering her. Well, I felt like I was bothering her, but it helps. It puts you into that space of, okay, so this is what they do. This is the kind of work I would be doing. And then I speak to those people at the office, and then they tell me, oh, there's this kind of job, there's this kind of job, there's this kind of job. By the time I was applying, I had all this information, and I had people in the workspace who knew kind of who I was, so that I didn't feel like I was going into this deep, scary world of trying to navigate life, because people are willing to help you if you ask them for help. So yeah, that's my, thank you.
I genuinely believe that, you know, whatever yes you put your mind to and you work towards, it will definitely come to pass. But at the same time, I think one thing I've had to learn is to be realistic, like I mentioned earlier. Be realistic. Currently, I have a brother who's in matric, and he's been dreaming about all these incredible and amazing careers. And I guess the temptation now is obviously to do much more, of course, than what your parents did or your siblings. So you look for these exotic and these, I don't want to say out of reach, but if you're saying to me you want to be an astronaut, for example, that's what he says. I want to be an astronaut. Okay, why? He doesn't know why. It's because it's fancy. It's because, you know, he's never met an astronaut before. He just wants to be the first one in the family. It's good to dream. And again, pay attention to those dreams that God does give you, because they are there for a reason and he will make them come to pass. But let's be realistic. Be realistic as far as what it is you're good at. Be realistic as far as, again, what it is your family needs, right? So as far as going about with the applications, like one of the panel members has said, Noluthando, is we do need to, whatever it is that's available to you, use that. Use the community, the people, even in the church. You do have professionals. Ask questions from the people who are right in front of you. Ask the questions. Ask if I can tag along to work. I am volunteering, because I know some professions do seem very, fancy and very attractive. Get the real feel of what it actually is all about, because majority of the time we're being sold dreams. Mina, I can just come and say, I was sold a dream. The profession I'm in is not fancy in any way, shape, or form. The amount of sacrifice that goes into it. At times you end up sacrificing your very self. Certain things suffer, even your spiritual life at times. So my advice is, yes, be realistic. To use the people who are there in front of you, in the church, even your teachers at school. If you do have, let's say perhaps you want to start a business, something as easy as just going across from your house to a spaza shop and just asking about how the business is run, how you can get involved. Don't despise small beginnings. That's very, very important, because it's those small skills that you will learn that will eventually build into, something that's very, very valuable. So that would be my advice to you, Kuti, as you apply. And again, focusing on careers only in matric, I think maybe might have been a shortfall when it comes to, from our teachers, from our parents. People only start talking to you about your career when you're in matric. Even in grade 11, as you pick those subjects, look at what you're good at, look at what you enjoy. Because again, it is those gifts, these little gifts that maybe you don't think are important, they will make room for you. They will set you apart. You said something about how, the job market is just saturated. There's no jobs. It is true, but what will set you apart is, yes, excelling, but it is just these natural gifts that you do have that you actually get to align with the profession that you're doing. So yeah, that's for now what I'll say.
Yeah, I think what I've been grabbing, at least from every single person here, is that they really knew who they were when they were choosing these careers. And maybe they've developed over time, but when they sat down, they sat and they looked at, these are the things I'm good at. And when they say these are the things I'm good at, they're thinking of things like, am I good at maths? Am I good at languages? Am I good at sports? Am I good at creative arts or creative things? Starting to do that kind of research, going online and saying, okay, if I'm good at languages, what jobs deal a lot with languages, with reading, which jobs deal a lot with science, with maths, and then going through that list, finding out what those people do, and then starting to look at your community. okay, at church we have someone who's in medicine, someone who's in accounting, someone who's in law, someone who's in marketing, someone who's doing this, going to speak to those people. I like education, I like teaching. You start at your place. You start to teach Sunday school, you start to ask Sunday school teachers, you start to ask teachers in the church. It's all in this place that you need, that you can find the information. All it requires of you is to sit down, to start to look at your subjects, start to look at, okay, this is what I like, who here can help me? And if you don't know, you just ask somebody. I like these kind of subjects, I want to find out more about it. Just as we wrap up this panel, before we go into asking questions from people on the floor, what's one take-home advice that you can give to students in this place about the working world, or about, at least at this stage, just choosing a field to go into? Or I know some people are not necessarily in a professional field, they're entrepreneurs, they're in a mix of this. What is just one piece of advice that you can give them over and above what you've already said? I'll just ask the whole panel.
I think I want to say, take everything that was taken here, and bundle it all into one piece of advice, almost. But just as a selling point, be curious, and don't think that you won't get something. Don't sell yourself short. So be curious, and don't sell yourself short and think that I can't get there. Because when you're curious, you want to find more about something. And when you find out more about something, you realize that, oh, okay, there's more that I can get into. There's more that I can dive into. And that's when you start getting answers. Because then you ask people, then you talk to people, then you go to the right spaces, you apply for something that you didn't think that you could do, and so on. So I wish I was more curious when I was younger. And I would say be curious and don't sell yourself short.
Sure. Okay, Simo said something about being realistic, ne? So this is such a big question because I just have a lot. Okay, number one, I want you to know ne? If you want to be an actress, that's fine. If you want to be Mahu, that's fine. If you know at all, skolo at all. Unfortunately, there are other careers. There are other careers, like you can become a petrol attendant. Hello? You can become the meanest person or cleaning beyond control. You can start your own company that is in cleaning. I say these fancy careers that you feel are out of reach, and then we bona as if you don't have anything. If you can bake, be the meanest baker. I think we have one at church. Lang understand. I had a friend. She was supposed to be here, but she couldn't. I had a friend in matric. She failed very bad, and again because of traumas that she went through when she was in grade 11, and life happens. Somebody, and then it affects your matric. And then she started a course ka higher certificate. I know it's not fancy. Family gathering. Lo wenzani? Hayi ngenze ha certificate, ma'am. It's fine. As long as you are in school and as long as that you are doing something. I had a friend who thought, okay, I want to study this. Second year, I drop. Family disappointed to Rihanna. Nana, you're going to be the first one in the family. Don't belittle anything that you want to do. I have a younger brother. Some of you know him. He went into matric and everything. And now, obviously, I'm the teacher. Hey, I want to know, what are the plans? Papa, kya bona udlala bolo ne? Udula lo ko di ground nga o se mnandini kana king Slovo house Slovo o snake parker, but skolo go etsagalang o batla o ba eng? And do you want to know the answer? Who is I don't know. Grade 10. Who is I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, now I'm shocked because I'm thinking, le sharp woman, le social media, le Facebook. You think or motor sharp, can't you know? And then I got to know I only took that stream because I seen the police. Stream is a general, sena le batho ba bagolo who bully you. Go wise man. Stream is the accounting, sena le batho ba bagolo who bully you. Look at the bathroom and everything. So say science, sena le batho ba 6, 7. So do you understand? I took a stream not because I fell in love with science, but just to protect myself. It's another issue. And I think I was sharing Libanol Tando again to say, if we are hosting these career things, go grade 12, we are late. We need to start at this age, go grade 7, go grade 8, go grade 9, so that we curve this thing. Because I believe if he was so honest with me about the bullying and the fear and everything and being a small Timothy, I would have advised further to say, but if science is not what you want to do, then utlosenya another 3 years in high school and eventually osenya university because unkile stream that you didn't have passion about. So stream is also choosing such general. Out of that, what is it that you want to do? I am in digital marketing. Digital marketing, we consider it as commerce, Nuyam. But I have students that did physics. Marabamu streaming sa commerce. Because but choose the physics because one understand. At that point, your own mother wanted you to become a doctor, but you realize that I can't do it. And now they are struggling. Not only are they struggling, but they are putting more hours into their studying because they took a stream that is new to them. That will be something that you will have to sacrifice. If you realize, okay, this asintweke batla, it's okay. Another thing, these are parents. Babatla Oyoko, doctor. They've invested in your studies, they've saved money for you. And if you are capable, go do it. Let's fulfill their little dream and their hearts. But after, if that is still not your passion, go pursue what makes you happy. What is it that you can wake up without a textbook, and you are able to do it? Another thing, as a mother, if you don't know what you want to do, we will decide for you as your parents. Bazok decided, I need to when I was. That's my thing. When I was ukutufunan, sizofonela umalume who's a policeman akufake. Uzobambi spam wena. I need to say you don't know what you want to do. So we will decide for you because angeke sizoba nomntwana ozohlala lana akhule without no future, without no career. So when you don't know what you want to do, we decide for you. But you can change that. You can start thinking about, what do I want to do? If I want to be an astronaut and I go research and I realize shame I never can feel. Change. Right? I'm so sorry, Tepesa Sham. I'm so sorry. Because I just want to talk. Because I see them. So this year I got a privilege of sitting, go the applicationing. And I see a mother coming, Linda Dohai. Yeah, sisi. Yeah, mina bengithi umfuneli khosi yezandla la ekhaya because ufailile lo. Bangafundi, makufanele afundi uyalala. Ngama weekend uthi uye esikolweni akaye esikolweni. Ngwana is so quiet because he doesn't know what he wants to do. The parents is deciding for them. And abanye bayafika at class and you're trying to teach and you're like, okay, so what make you choose this course? Athi course yaga mama. It's my mother's course, it's my father's course. I never wanted it. But they pushed me into it. But why did they push you into it? It's because you never knew what is it that you wanted to do. There is a school for everything. Have you seen Aboma Panyaza? Do you know Panyaza? That's our school. There's a school for everything. Now I've learned there's a school for cleaning. There is, who's this woman in social media? I am Bali in Tlapa, and I'm a house. Uvuli Academy, manj. And she's making money. She is making money from showing you how to remove stains. So whether ke short course ya 3 months, whether ke short course ya 6 months, whether ke higher certificate, ke degree that you want to do, you need to have something. Unfortunately, you need to have something, otherwise doors become shut. In order for me to accept you at interview level, I need to see that you have something. It can be a TVET, it can be FET, it can be a center somewhere. Learn something, acquire skill, and show a certificate for it. Ne? What I love is that even at high school, you get to be best at life orientation. That's an achievement. That is something that you can put in your CV. I'm in media team at church. That is something you can put into your CV. Because somebody says, do you know what? When I met tricky fella and never went anywhere, but at least words are something. Mara wena, you don't go to church. I'll participate. You are never available. Loro na mo kereke nga re tsebe go thusa yang. Ha re bone passion ya hao e go kae. But if we know hore a re tshwarang dithapo wa matha you, we're like, even when somebody on coffee says, do you know someone who can? We're like, I know someone. It's because I always see you busy at church. So connection how could be in this church. So if you are lazy, you are sitting down, you are shy, you don't want to participate, you don't want to wake up, you don't want to, we forget about you in our private spaces. And we don't even know your name because you don't participate. But we remember Tepiso because, yeah, she's always in front talking. She's always here every Saturday. But when you are at the corner, your connection could be here, or your best advice could be in this church. Take home, know what is it that you want to do. If you want to bake, make the meanest cakes. You want to be in fashion, dress, be the meanest one. You want to be in petrol attendant, have the best customer service. Because you can grow from that. I'll sell petrol forever. You can end up owning that garage and opening another. By that time, I want a degree. But you started small. Lona le batla go gola 20,000 first job. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You can ask all of us, re qadile ka salary ya bokae. And we still had to support our own mothers and everything. You can't start a job ka 20,000. Maybe Botepiso ba lucky shem. Rona ba bang we started very, very low. But you understand, I'm starting here, I'm not going to die here. I'm going to move further. Wang understand? But you don't batla qala ka 20K. You batla qala ka Mercedes. Unless you win a lotto, you can start there. But trust me, once it breaks down, you're gonna go and start where you were supposed to start. Is that okay? I'm so sorry.
No, thank you, thank you.
I feel like you've said everything. Everything. I believe everything that was said today is important. I'm sure, I saw people writing notes. Do go through those notes, especially on days where you are more confused about what it is you want to do with your life. But take home message. I do not even know where to start, but realism. I think be realistic. Let's be realistic. Yes, dream as far as God allows you to dream and work at those dreams as much as you can, but just be realistic. And I think the other very, very important thing is working on your character. Who you are when nobody's watching is very important. because all those traits, they build you up into a person that will, whatever career you find yourself in, you will be excellent. So work on your character. When nobody's watching, the little responsibilities that you have, that your parents have given you, that a church community has given you, just try to be excellent. Excel, excel, excel at every little thing. The sports, the debating team you're in, every single thing, and of course your studies. Just be excellent and you'll see. I think the other very, very important thing, if you are Christian and you are a person of faith, just always be open to God ordering your steps. Because like you've heard from all of us, almost none of us became the things that we wanted to be at 15. So always allow God to order your steps. Always make room for life to take whatever turn that God, I guess, decides. But in all things, just excel, excel, excel. Work on your character. And just know, Guti, you are more than capable. You will become so much more than you've ever dreamed. Just do what the people God has placed before you as authority. Whatever it is they're instructing you to do, just do it and be excellent at it.
I think this is the beauty of having to speak after everybody has spoken. Then you can repeat what they've said. Yeah, on a serious note, I think parting shot from my side. One, trust God with the plans He has for your life. Identify what you are passionate about and commit it to God and pursue it with all your heart. The Bible says in Jeremiah 20 that I alone know the plans I have for you. So you don't even know what God has in store for you. But He doesn't say you don't have a plan. Come up with a plan, but He will make you discover what He has for you. For He says, I alone know the plans I have for you. But they are good plans to prosper you, to give you a great future, and to give you hope. So I think for me that is very, very, very important that you commit your plans to the Lord. And then also, when you commit your plans to the Lord, it means you get into the Word. You have to discover how God deals with His people. Look at the story of Joseph. It's one mind-blowing story. From being sold to being a vice president of Egypt. But that doesn't mean you don't get imprisoned. That doesn't mean you don't get accused falsely. It doesn't mean that your brothers won't betray you. A lot goes on in that story. But that's life. So allow God to take you through all of that and don't despair. Secondly, the career options are limitless. We live in an AI generation right now. That's the future. Whether we like it or not, whether we were born before technology or not. But one thing that I would really advise you is excel in your matric results. I can't emphasize that a lot. You have one good shot. Okay? If you want to do great tomorrow, do great today. Okay? Because without a good matric certificate, you are blocked in terms of access and options. I would rather be open to all careers and have a problem of what to choose. Okay? Do great in your matric. That matric certificate is going to allow you to access endless opportunities in terms of career choices. Because then you qualify for all of them. Okay? So I think do that. Second last is seek advice. Okay, the Bible says in the book of Proverbs that with many advices, victory is made certain. Seek advice from as many people that you admire, that you trust. Listen, compare notes. It's very important to compare notes because some notes are crypt notes. You don't quite know what the abbreviations stand for because people don't tell you the whole story. Find a good role model. Find a very good role model. We have many role models within the church. Find a good role model and be consistent in pursuing that excellence. You don't wake up today excited about studying and then next week, somebody must now force you to go and read. You need to be consistent, you know? There's a famous saying that a habit is made within 21 days. So after 21 days, you must at least have established some sort of habit and pattern. Last but not least, don't live in your head. A lot of our teenagers today, they live in their heads. Okay? What do I mean? You have all these amazing dreams that you have, but none action is done towards them. When uzoba ulo ipoza yamahetu, but you can't hold a dong. Okay? You don't know the types of hair that are out there, but you want to be the excellent one in doing people's hair. You don't know the types of products that are out there, but you want to own a salon. Okay, so give me the practicality there. Okay, and then everybody must face life, because life will do what life does. Okay? We are not all going to be cut from the same cloth. You are going to face life in the conditions that God believes is best for you to go through. So don't envy someone else's life. Hey, you don't know what they have to deal with. Now we know what's going on. All right? So do not look at someone and envy them and don't know where they're coming from. Okay? Now, a lot of the young people today want to become soccer star, and we are disappointed at Bafana, but we still have hope. So the issue I have is, I tell my son, both my sons wants to become soccer stars. And I said to them, you really need to be very good. So you thinking about it and you admiring it are two different things. You need to live, sleep, eat football. How do you do that accompanied with school? You still have to go to school. So a balancing act is very important. We're not saying don't pursue your passions. I'm an ex-footballer myself. All right? I played as far as provincials and all of that, but I didn't make Bafana. Okay? But what I'm saying is, I had to think when I was at varsity today, if I pursue football, it wasn't paying as it does now. I had to choose. You either do books or football. All right? And if you go football and you break your leg, what are you going to fall back on? And that's what my parents told me. It's like, we see you good, but what's going to happen if you break your leg? And I was like, okay, I ring skolong. All right? So my advice to you is, with all of these, God has amazing plans for you. But you must live the life and discover it, but trust Him. If you don't trust Him, you're already lost. Right? Trust Him, He will not disappoint you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of these wonderful take-home pieces. I've been taking down some notes. Be excellent. Start small. Start where you are. Be realistic. The biggest one that I've been hearing from everyone is research. Find out about what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, just search something, start somewhere. Maybe we can just open the floor for any questions that anyone has. Does anyone have a question from the floor? There's one question.
My name is Cindy Soramtataki. So I have a question, not a question actually. So I have the same problem as your brother. I think it's about 6 years now since I completed my matric, a best student at Wiseman in commerce. But yet I don't have a direction. I don't know what is it that I'm passionate about it. I've been in many industries. Financial service, I've been there. I've been in the engineering party, I'm not interested. I've been in the telecommunications, I'm not interested. So what would you say to grade 10s, grade 11s, grade 7? Let's start with grade 7. What would you tell them? Because I'm in the situation right now. I'm a second year in BCom management. I dropped out a lot of qualifications. So what would you tell them? What is it that you can say to them, like, so that they don't fall into the trap that I'm in right now? Because I don't see myself going anywhere. I don't have a passion. Like, I'm surrounded with actuary specialists. I have a friend who's doing masters in business, studies in internal auditing. I have people who are doing SEMA, but still, I'm not motivated enough. I have people who are in medicine. I have teachers. I even took one of my teachers' contact details, because I felt like she groomed me, she knows me. I asked her, what is it that I'm good at? She said, Cindy, you are good in teaching. You're good in accounting. You're good in physics. If I take you to physics, you're going to do physics. If I take you to general, you're going to nail it. But yet, I don't know where I'm going. I'm still lost. From being a top student, I was a top 3 at Wiseman. I used to attend at Soweto, the side of Soweto. I used to, when they say Wiseman Kele, I was the learner that you're going to call. So right now I'm stuck. What is it that you're going to teach these learners? How do I write a resume? I've been into interviews. As I've said previously, I've been into industries, yet I do not know what is it that I want.
Yes, I appreciate your honesty, and I would want to imagine how frustrated that you are feeling at the moment. And just before I go to the grade 7s and the grade 8, just from me to you is that don't let that block you. Pray about it. If it means fasting about it, fast. Go on a fast and pray about it to say, God, this is where I am. This is what I've tried with my own strength, and I need you now to intervene, to say, where am I supposed to go? Because there are lives that are waiting for you to decide, and you need to jump. Do you get me? You need to jump. At a point, you need to jump. Remember I said, I wanted to do teaching, and I wanted to do teaching in foundation phase, and I couldn't do that. But I took a leap of faith, and I jumped into marketing, and I gave it time. I remember I was so angry. The first test, I was like, I'm going to pass it like crazy so that they see I've got potential to be in that list. And I made sure I nail it. But once I started, then I gave it a chance. That's what I'm trying to say. I gave marketing a chance, and only to find out it was the best thing that could ever happen. So even if somebody says, jump into digital marketing, don't say, but I've had commerce, and jump. Is that okay? But please do not forget to still pray about it, because you have to pray about it so that God can make those steps possible. And then to anyone, or go grade 7, or go grade 8, you chose that stream because, and now you are already in it. I want you to try as much as you can to research now that you are in grade 7. You don't want to be like her, you matriculate, and then out Zibi, what is it that you want to do? I want you to know now. And I remember when I told my mom, Kath, 2nd year, 3rd year, those who know my mom, know my mom. Just saying, I'm studying marketing. Oh God, let's working in marketing. And I don't expect people to understand marketing, because I see the career that are in our faces. I see the doctor, I see the teachers, I see policemen. This is another part of commercial that our parents will never understand. There is that dream that you want to have, but your parents can't see the vision as yet. You are responsible of making them see the vision. Lang understand again. You are responsible of convincing them that you can become the fashion designer you want to be. But if when utsuga phakela uja papa wa go bala wa fostiwa go tlhapa wa fostiwa go styliwa how clean mo ntlong o ngwana fela for the sake of being a child, le uniform a we apare nicely, lo policha ditlhako tshwantse go foster policha ditlhako. Onana mama go tlo believe go wena ka ba fashion designer. You are responsible of convincing them of the career that you want to be. And I always tell my students that you need to convince your parents or they did a good job taking a loan for you to come and study at Rosebank. Other parents, they take a loan. You need to convince them that they did a good job. And now fitla kontlung, uvele uri. Yeah, today I learned that as a business we are satisfying customers' needs and wants. I'm proud. I'm tšhelete yaka is not going anywhere. Tšhelete yaka ya sebetsa. Understand, your language, your behavior is starting to change from what you learned. Conversations around your friends. No man, this child is going to school. This child is believing in this. You are asking friends to saying, okay, let's go to Rosebank College. Nekopa ya luena go Rosebank College just to go see the campus. Kopa ya luena just to go see the courses. What are we seeing? We are seeing that you are willing. Understand, you are not sitting bum, but you are willing to learn more, and you are willing to say, this is something I'm passionate about. If you love to bake, kontlung tshwantse ba be le stress ha ba rekile flour. Yo, go kitchening. They need to see the passion. They need to sacrifice their last 50 rand and say, okay, reka 2.5 ya flour, whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? You are responsible of convincing them. But if you batla ba pilot, wena ka 7 o robala le bona, o tsoga ka 9 le bona. How study, how course 90, how na di notes, there is nothing on your wall. Actually, we used to be taught, Tando can testify, we used to be taught in the church, whatever vision that you have, write it down. You will get to my room, phase 7, paste everything I could get my hands on. I would write it down. Even to the kind of husband I want. It's just that we choose couple, but it's fine for now. But I would write it down. Do you guys see what I'm saying? I would write it down. I want to work at this. I want to talk like this. I think I had about 28 bullets. Mama ka di tshega every day abala ka mola cleaner tshega. I'm like, oh, how boni what I'm trying to achieve. But one day, and a couple of years ago, she went into my room. They were still there, and she said, I am going down your list, and some of them, you've ticked them off. You've ticked them off. You've ticked them off. It's because you wrote it down. You have a vision. You have to write it down. List scripture visual. Where do you want to go? What do you want to drive? And you won't believe it. Even now, I still have that. I still have a vision board. I think all of us in January, we all have vision boards. But I still have it, and it hunts me down every time I want to sleep. If I still want to, I still have a picture. Tando tabete ka flat tan. I'm trying. I'm gymming because I'm avoid my. Do you guys get what I'm saying? There is a vision, and I'm writing it down. I put it there, and it holds me responsible that you said you want to achieve this. What's my guy? No.
Thank you, Lesotho. Thank you. Maybe if we can get some more questions as well from if anyone else has other questions they want to ask.
So, Richard, can I quickly just say a word? Yes. Ma'am, my heart goes out to you. I think the level of frustration is evident. But maybe let me just quickly say this. This is about the mind. It really is about the mind. The Bible is very clear about a doubtful mind that don't think you'll achieve anything because you are unstable in all that you do. But if you have a clear mind and believe, and I think the two things I want to say to you, just clear the mind. Clear the mind, be stable, believe, because unbelief is also a sin. But most of all, you are guaranteed to have the mind of Christ. The Bible says we have the mind of Christ. So I'm not saying you don't. All I'm saying is these things are not impossible. You just need to trust God with what He has in store for you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Do you have any questions from the students, high school students? Want to know more about their profession, how they got there? Maybe you're struggling with something.
question at the back.
Please pass the mic.
Sanibona. Njani? Nami ngiyaphila. Mina ngegama umthunzi kakunene umtimando umadonsela ubambo olunye. Yeah, ngi-program coordinator, so Thandweni after school program. These learners that we see here, they basically came with us. Sorry, my voice is a bit too crusty. I had a long night yesterday. I was studying. So yeah, so what we have observed as like management also Thandweni is that majority. Yeah, ining of these learners, majority abantwana they njengoba ngisho ukuthi into esibonile or into esiobservile about iningi yalabantwana ukuthi they struggle with identity crisis, yabo. So maybe if you can maybe enlighten them about maybe how to find their identity, because you see in the environment esihlala kuyo there are no role models ngale ndlela leyo ukuthini uthi ungabhekela umuntu enotheni, yabo. Mele uze uphume ngelokishi uze uthole ini uqozi noma ufuqufuqu like motivation to do better empilweni, yabo, or to meet abantu abafana nani, yabo. So that's one thing, and that's a challenge that we have picked up recently. Ukuthi our learners and majority abantwana abaseThepiso naseMnandeni, they struggle with identity crisis and they have low self confidence or esteem, yabo. Because we can have visitors, njengoba sinama visitors, you see aboThepiso kanje abantu who are aesthetically pleasing, you understand? So Utepi's, if she approaches one of our learners, big words, bombastic English, it becomes a challenge for them to engage in a way, yabo. So I think it needs purification in a way. So yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
I think a lot of people face that struggle, no matter like where they come from. But I find that people that look at a certain type of people will often think that it's out of my reach. That's why I was saying my last point was don't sell yourself short, because, and almost you need to be ignorant to what you think you see or what you think you know. You know what I mean? Like, don't think Guti, you see someone that looks like this, that means that I know everything about them and I know everything that they've done and everything's always been easy for them. You know, that person could not have the heart or the passion that you have. They could not have the gifting that you have. And that identity shifting happens inside. And it happens, I mean, as someone who goes to church, as someone who believes in God, I found my identity in Christ. And I found the confidence to be myself in Christ. There was a lot of things I didn't like about myself, or I didn't see as important in myself because I thought there's someone else who can just do it better. I saw people, I wasn't a top student. I wasn't someone who got the top marks. I was someone who, I was maybe average or just above average. And I was kind of floating through, you know. I saw people get high distinctions and then I was like, okay, I got there with my 2 and so on. So there was a lot of shifting of my mindset that I had to do to think that I could get where I am and to think that I could be successful in getting myself where I am, you know. So I think the identity shift isn't just in, like, there's nothing I can say to tell you how to be yourself. You just need to have the curiosity, like I said, to want to be better than what you are now, you know. And if you have the desire everyone spoke about, then you'll want to change, you'll want to see change, you'll want to do something different. Because also most of us, our parents come from the same sort of setup. Even if you see, oh, this person looks like this, they talk like this, they have family in the same sort of spaces, or they've been around the same sort of spaces. Some people who look the way that you think someone successful looks, you'll find that they live in the same area that you live in, you know? But you can't tell because there's a way that they put themselves together, because there's a confidence maybe that they have in themselves and in where they're going. So it has to do with building confidence in knowing where you're going. Your right now is not where you're going. They spoke about Joshua, I mean not Joshua, thank you. Joseph, he could not tell where he was going, even though he had the dream. He had the dream and God put that in his heart, but he had no guarantee of how he was going to get there. All he had to do was be faithful to God. Hence I said, my identity was found in Christ. I didn't know, again, in the first question, I didn't know I was gonna be sitting here. I didn't know I'd be an architect. I didn't even know if I'd take my qualification as far as I did. There were points where I wanted to give up. There were points where I had the identity crisis. That thing doesn't leave. Of like, oh, am I in the right position? Am I in the right career? I thought about dropping out. I thought about going to other things. I thought about all these things. But one thing I was like, I have to do is I have to continue praying. I have to continue reading my Bible. I have to continue just working to get through today, working to get through, and so on and so forth. Because you'll get out of your reality. Your today is not the same as your tomorrow. It's not the same as your next week. It's not the same as your next year, your next 5 years. Vision is not about what you have now. So when she was casting her vision, she wasn't thinking about what she had now. Because if that was as far as she saw herself, then what's the point of having a vision in the first place? You know what I mean? It's about, okay, I'm casting a vision because there's something missing, and I see it for myself in the future. So how do I get there? How do I make sure that what I have now is not what I'm gonna have, or I have more than that later? And it has to do with just being uncomfortable in your reality. So that being uncomfortable, not sure about your identity, it's fine. If anything, it's great because it makes you inspired. Like, when you want to do better, it's because there's something now that you don't like. So do something about what you don't like now, you know? Like, find something to solve the issue. It's one thing to sit and to complain and to be like, these people have been handed silver platters, these people have this, I don't have it. Okay, what am I gonna do to get it? Because, I mean, there's people who are in the same position I was in and they got it. What makes me different to them? Absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing that makes you different. Some people might have one step ahead of you. That just means you need to take 2 instead of 1. Doesn't mean you're not gonna get there. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to talk to the program coordinator. I'm so sorry. I wanted to talk to the program coordinator. Another thing that you can also, I would suggest greatly, I guess maybe in terms of funding, how much, do you have, or stuff like that. It would be nice one day, just take them out. Take them out of Tepisong, take them out of Nandini, by Auckland Park, write to companies and say, I want to do an excursion. I have my grade 7 to my grade 9, they're doing this stream. Possible jobs and possible companies that they can work in. And that sometimes on its own, you solve the problem that you can address. Or sometimes about belief, you can go out of Tepisong, you can become whatever that you want to become. They don't believe you until they see it. Kibo Thomas. Thomas Lena with until I see the holes, I will believe. So Libona Kibo Thomas, this identity, they want to see what you are preaching all the time. See it in person. That's why most of the time I want to invite people to come to school so that by born a campus and they see the possible jobs. And you're not gonna believe it, even the student I have currently who have finished matric, Bako varsity now, they're still struggling with that. And as a program lead as well, I take them out to go see that possible jobs in once they finish here. So if you can organize something like that where you take them out, let them go out. Because I've learned today that the building, the surroundings and everything, they played a role in taking you down mentally. So once you go Kodi Sabapo, you're like, there's something better out there. You know, I can dream big and I can become everything I know. I know Muruti likes saying, I'm forgetting the verse. Where you grew up, chances are because they think they know you, they will pull you down. But once you move away to go preach somewhere else where they don't know you, you gain this confidence and this self-esteem, and you can become anyone that you want. And nobody can say, but when I go phase 7, le sotlega ko RDP. It's because they don't know because I go phase 7. But Baba tsebang hore ke tswa ko phase 7, they will always try to remind me where I come from and think that can put me down, and it does not. That's why I can sometimes take them out of this so that they go see that there is a world out there, and it doesn't only exist in TV, it's real. They are shooting these scenes in the same province I'm in, which is Gauteng.
I think we'll take our final questions so that we can close off the panel session.
Okay, thank you very much. Just want to say thank you for coming to talk to our young people. It is a splendid panel there, and thanks for coming back. You were there last year. I'm sure we are going to adopt you. Yeah, no, thanks. It's good to see the architect, the teacher, colleague there, to see young people coming into the stream of medicine when some of us have retired. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I just want to say maybe two things. Just to say to Mthunzi, come back home. No, it's good. I know Mthunzi is staying down the road, so we can partner together. So I think what Lesego was saying about taking them out and so on, I think let's sit together and let's plan together and see how we can collaborate, because we want to be, our philosophy as a church is that we are an externally focused church. So we are not looking inward, but are looking outward. So the plan is to impact the community. So if we don't impact the community, we have no purpose for being here, because we know stay where people encounter God, So, but I think this is a community church, so we want to work with you and in other aspects that you are doing also. But also just to indicate that what you were saying is about. I think the verse that I'm not sure if you're talking to me or for you there, is that what good can come out of Nazareth? Yeah, I think that's the theme that I keep on saying this when I go to Wiseman, because I go there every year. And you said that when you do matric, do well. Make sure that you pass your exams. And what we're doing is we motivate, especially, sorry, Raymond Mhlabab, you're doing well. You always get 100%. But we're also working with the wise men. We also contribute in there. Every year I go there, we motivate the young people, matric students, and say the best 3 students, they get an award from the church. And it motivates them, and they work very hard. And I didn't even know that it works. But when I went there this year, the others said, last year when you came, I said I want to get the top marks, and they got them. Then you've got students who are doing well, going to different universities. So we just want to say, study hard, make sure that you get your, you do well at your matric. But what was the other year, about 2 years ago, I was surprised there was one student who got 4 distinctions, and he wanted to do medicine, and he was not admitted. And he came to me, and I went to contact all my contacts, the deans of different universities all over the country, and I wrote to them because I know them, some of them personal. I said, please, can you help UCT? We wrote to Wits, I wrote to Medunsa or Limpopo, Sokomakhat. One of them came back to me and said, I can see he's a good student, but he's not good enough. Now the competition is amongst the students who've got 7 distinctions. 4 distinctions, they say, you're good, but, you know, not good enough to compete because, yeah, I'm sure, I don't know, where you can attest. For you to get into medicine, you had to be exceptionally good these days. But I think you said that it's not only this fancy degrees that you have to aspire for. You can be a good cook, a good chef, you can be anything that you want to be. So we just want to encourage young people to be that. My personal story, when I went to university, well, I come from Matole, what is called Matole now, but it was called Dabulaville, Durban Deep. I was born and I grew up there. And I went to Kagiso to study. I did my matric at Musupatsela, passed there. I'm sure I was the top student. Yeah, but growing up at Durban Deep, you know, you don't think that people can, you know. So I think I want to encourage you, coming from Nandini, you can make it. And when I was going to university, you know, I had 4 things that I wanted to be. Let me speak about the one that is absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to become a policeman. Because my uncle was a blackjack. You know the blackjacks in Dobsonville, they don't know them. Secure, you know, township police. And then I also wanted to become a pastor, a priest, because my father took me to see Bishop Desmond Tutu, being ordained as a dean, bishop, archbishop. So I was inspired today. And then I also wanted to become a lawyer. And I thought maybe I can, you know, I'm glad my daughter is now a lawyer. So she followed after me. And then I also wanted to become a medical doctor. And I pursued this one because I was involved in a car accident one time. I was going to school, Dobson, from Durban Deep, in Matole, walked to Rodiport, from Rodiport got into a taxi, taking me to Dobsonville. I think that time I was going to Orlando. And I got an accident, I got a scar there. And the people who looked after me, the emergency people, they just looked at me, they didn't stitch me, they didn't put a bandage. I think they just put a cotton wool or something. Then I said, I'm going to become a better doctor. And I became a doctor many years later. So, but I think you can be whatever you want to be. And there are many options. I think you speak about, even if it's try one of them. Let's say, you get university, you get admitted, try one of them. If you don't find your way, you can change after 1 year, you know, because there's that possibility that you can change. But I just want to say, please make sure that you do well, you study well. Or I was going back to that student who didn't, the one wanted to go to university. It's because, you know, he applied for only one institution. He only applied at VETS to become a medical doctor. But I said, you know, why didn't you apply it? But also must have 3 options: medicine, accounting, or engineering, you know. So that if you don't get into one of these things, you get into the other one, you know. So then you didn't, ultimately ended up, I think it's at Rosebank College. If I'm not mistaken, he's doing marketing or something, because later on, yeah, maybe I will just check, yeah, because he ended up going to, later on, because he couldn't get in. You know, when I met him the other day, they said, hey, you didn't do. So I agree that we must start with these young ones, grade 8s. And that's what I was talking to the principal at Wiseman to say, you know, I'm sure they were going to give me the grade 12, but grade 12 is too late. But at least now apply. I don't know if the closing date, is it too late now to apply? October. Yeah, so please make sure if you are in grade 12, start applying now. And if you are not sure, Mtunzi is there to help you to decide what, you are all there. And please come to the church, we can help you. If you want to do online application, we can help you. There's Wi-Fi here. Bring your phones and maybe we can bring a laptop to help you. So, yeah, thank you very much. It was a wonderful occasion that we have today.
So sorry, Tepisa, about that. Somebody decided to ask me a question. They wrote it down. They said that if I lack how to understand myself and how to study by myself, what can I do to find my career? Kopa, please keep it. Yes.
That's really not fair. I don't think it's fair.
I'm so sorry.
Yes. So they're saying if they are struggling to understand themselves
Yes.
and study by themselves.
Yes.
There are times where life does isolate you, but I think at this stage, you have a community. Firstly, you were born into a family. You're being taught in a school. So looking at just how you're always surrounded by people, clearly you're not meant to be doing life on your own. I always say that to especially introverted people who feel that it's very difficult to engage with people. God placed you where he placed you, in the family you're in a school that you're in a church you're in. Use those people. Like, use the people you have around you. So again, the identity issue, it's a big, big one. Clearly, that's why they're struggling to understand themselves. But for me, what has helped me with my identity, and again, maybe let me just go back a little bit. The identity issue for me has always stemmed from my parents. The issue of not being born in a certain setting or not being born in a marriage, for example, where it can be very common in our communities where you're not really born or it's not seen as a planned child. That has been my issue personally, and what has helped me overcome that, or what has helped me understand who I am, is the faith. God decided that I would have an encounter with him, and understanding that you're born into the sonship. Therefore, it means that you are a child of God. And I think most of us don't understand the weight of it. Maybe let me make an example, a quick one. We look at celebrities and their children. You see, let me make a very common, I think hopefully all of us know who Beyonce and Jay-Z are. I apologize, Mfundisi, for making a circular example. But their children, for example, Blue Ivy, all of a sudden, at a very young age, she's got this confidence to just be what she wants.
Yes.
She shows up on stage and she does what she believes she's good at, and there's this backing. You can tell that the backing is because of her parents.
Yes.
So identity in Christ, identity in God, you should really, really try. Fight it if you have to, because the enemy really tries to attack our identities, because it derails your whole life once you get it wrong. So try, infuse it in yourself, even as a daily routine in the morning when you wake up. Tell yourself you are a child of God, you are who God says you are, and you can do all the things that he says you can do. And you will begin to understand yourself from that angle, and it will give you confidence to then, go on and become whatever it is God says that you are. So identity, yes, is a big, big problem. We struggle with it in our townships. We struggle with it even in our adulthood when life really deals you certain things that you were never prepared for. But just always remember, you are a child of God, you are who he says you are, and you can absolutely do everything that he says you can do. So struggling to understand yourself, just go back to God. Go back to the one who made you. He's the one who knows you best. And then, yes, secondly, the second part, as she was asking, how do I engage with people, I guess? Understand that you are born into these communities. You're not supposed to do life alone. So use the people God has provided you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our panelists for today. Unfortunately, because of time, I'm going to have to cut it. But all our panelists will be here. We'll be having more sessions from Rosebank College, Maharishi Institute, and then after that, they'll be here. They're available to speak to you. If you have any questions, if you're too scared to speak to them, you can speak to me, you can speak to Iggy, Bui, and then we'll pass on all of your questions to them. But just as we close off, I'd just like to remind you of the theme, Built to Lead. 1 Timothy says, don't look down on yourself because you are young, but set an example for believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. If you could have all our panelists stand up and we can give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Yo, thank you so much for that. That was very insightful. That was enlightening. Yeah, we got a lot. I hope everyone was taking notes because I see no one has their pen, paper. So I'm